Right, so this one is question 20 on the foundation paper or question 4 on the higher paper. And if you need help with this, it is video 223 for these two skills and cohort maths and 224 for this one at the bottom. The problem with question A is spot on what it is asking you to do. Now, hopefully, you would be used to sort of knowing when you write an answer like that, 2, 3, and 5 are all prime numbers. This is the product of primes. Now, that means what has happened here is someone has already done the factor tree for 120 and got this answer. Basically, what they're asking you for is what power of 3 did we end up with? So you've got a couple of ways of doing this. You can, if you want to, figure out what 2 cubed is, times it by 5, and then see what we times it by to get up to 120. Or I think, just for kind of good practice, and because we're going to be doing it in a second anyway, let's do the factor tree for 120. As I say, it's known to do this that is difficult with this question. So if we use 120, we can use 2 and 60, and we circle the 2 because it's a prime number. Then we can use 2 and 30, circle the 2 again because it's a prime number. Then we can use 2 and 15, circle the 2 again because it's a prime number. And then that is 3 and 5, we circle those. So that gives us 2 times 2 times 2, which gives me the 2 cubed, times 3, just 1 3, and times 5. So what power of 3? Well, how many 3s have I got there? I've only got the 1 3. And it's a bit nasty again because it doesn't actually have a power there. So you could be mistaken for saying, well, it's 0, but it isn't. There is 1 3 that we are multiplying by there. So K is 1. That is your answer. Okay. Right, part B. Write 168 as a product of its prime factor. So we're going to basically just do this to 168. Look out for these words: product, prime, factors, factor tree, and make sure you write your answer. Okay, you would have all seen this. Everyone would have done this before. It's just remembering it. It's called product of prime factors. Okay, so we start off with 168. Divide it by 2. We're going to get 84. Divide it by 2 again. We're going to get 42. Divide it by 2 again, we're going to get 21. 21 can't divide by 2, so let's divide it by 3. That will give me 7, and those two are both prime. So this one is going to be 2 times 2 times 2 times 3 times 7. Okay, and if you want to, you can leave that like that. That'll be fine. Or you can write it as 2 cubes times 3 times 7. It's up to you how you write that. Okay, that's part B done. Right, part C. Low Watts Limited makes light bulbs that are identical in size. They have regular orders from company A for 120 light bulbs and from company B for 168 light bulbs. Now straight away, what you should be noticing, and this is the kind of exam technique that we will have, your teachers will have spoken to you about loads. 120 and 168, where have you seen them numbers? 168, 120. So you're going to be using these things in this question, okay? Low Watts uses one size of box to supply both company A and company B. Each box used contains the same number of light bulbs and is full. The number of boxes used is as few as possible. How many light bulbs does each box hold? So what this is asking us is that we want to send an order of 120 to this, an order of 120 to company A, 168 to company B. We're going to put them in the same size box, and we want to know how big that box is. So what is the biggest box that we could share equally 120 and 168 into? And what that means is this is a highest common factor question. What is the biggest number that can divide into both 120 and 168? And we're going to use our answers above to be able to do this. So 120 is 2 times 2 times 2 times 3 times 5. 168 is 2 times 2 times 2 times 3 times 7. Okay, and if you remember your working out for this, we use a Venn diagram. This one's going to represent 120, this one's going to represent 168, and what we do is we pair up the primes. So that 2 and that 2 represented by 2 there, a 2 and 120 and a 2 and 168. That 2 and that 2 represented by a 2 there, another 2 and 120, another 2 and 168. that 2 and that 2, that 3 and that 3, and then 5 will go in there and 7 will go in there. So that is our highest common factor in the middle there. Okay, and remember that all of these things are always multiplied together. So we want to do 2 times 2 times 2 times 3. Whenever you do something like this, by the way, if you struggle to figure these things out, it's always easier to start with the bigger numbers and work your way backwards, because doubling things is dead easy. 3 times 2 is 6, times 2 is 12, times 2 is 24. So our answer there is 24 light bulbs for each box. Okay. Right, looking at the mark scheme for this question now. Here we are, question 20, B1, 1. When it says there may be embedded, it means that if you write the 1 in there, okay? However, you must write 1 somewhere. If I'd have just left that as 2 cubed times 3 without the 1 times 5, I wouldn't get my answer. Okay, so that's question 1. You've got to spot it, that's 1 there. Part B. There we go. Right, method to find prime factors with 2 correct prime factors seen before the second error. Okay, M1. Okay, so part B, said there, so yeah, method to find prime factor, 2 correct prime factors seen before the second error. So basically, as long as you could do 2 lots of this, you'd be fine. Okay, and then your answer there, 2 times 2 times 2 times 3 times 7, or equivalence, means that you could write that as 2 cubed times 3 times 7 if you wanted to. Okay, and the last part, part C, which is here. So your strategy mark there attempts to find a common factor of 168 and 120. So you can do that by, you don't have to do it this way, you could do it by listing out the factors of 120. So you could start off, if you think about the way that we first teach you to do this in year 7 and year 8, start off 1 times 120, then 2 times 60, 3 times 40, so on and so forth. You could do it that way if you wanted to. This is the quickest way to do it though. M1 is for getting at least 1 common factor that is bigger than 3. So what that means is if you were to write an answer of say 4, then you would get the second method mark, because that is a common factor to both of those numbers, but it isn't the highest common factor. And then to get that accuracy mark there, correct answer only has to be 24. Okay.